Hello and welcome to the Before You Bet Racing Preview brought to you by Palmerbet, where we'll be taking a look at this Saturday's action from Rosehill in Sydney and Caulfield in Melbourne. I'm your host, Tim Geers, joined by Trent Crebbin, and Trent, looks a good day's racing at Caulfield this Saturday.
Yeah, it does. Really keen to get stuck into it. I reckon there's a couple of great bets to be had.
Caulfield's currently rated a soft 6, rails out 12 metres. How do you think that's going to play?
I think it'll be on pace early in the day at least. Probably the inside lanes might chop up a little bit towards the middle and back end of the card, so they might start coming wider in the straight. But I think on pace early, and then you're looking to swoop a bit later perhaps.
Over in Sydney at Rosehill, the track is, you guessed it, a heavy 9, like it is every single meeting this time of year. Just seems like every meeting we turn up to is a bog track at the moment, but we're in the middle of winter, so I guess that's to be expected, especially in Sydney. The rail moves out 2 metres for this meeting. Generally, Rosehill can play pretty fair, unlike what we got dished up at Canterbury on Wednesday, where you basically had to be glued to the paint. Otherwise, you had no physical way of winning a race. But hopefully, Rosehill is a little bit more fair. And normally with the rail out a couple of metres, it is their best position, around 3 or 6 metres. So hopefully in the 2 metre position, it does play fairly and give every horse their chance. Now, as I said, this show is brought to you by Palmerbet, who are giving existing customers more bang for their bet with the launch of their new product, the Bookie Bag. The Bookie Bag basically gives existing Palmerbet customers exclusive and personalised products and promotions. And if you want more details about the Bookie Bag, head to beforeyoubet.com.au and you can find out some more details. Now, we'll waste no more time. We'll get straight into our best bets for Saturday, which will be June 27. We'll start off with you, Trent, over at Caulfield. As I've said, track soft 6, rail out 12, and your best bet comes up in the very last race of the day. So you'll be hoping to send punters home happy.
Yeah, I'm quite keen on number 13, Victoria Star, who is currently the first emergency, so I do hope she gets a run. I was on her last start, and I thought she ran really well for third behind Heptagon, who has won 2 races since and is absolutely flying. I think the key for this horse is getting back on soft ground. She's 5 from 5 on rain affected, and that third last start was her highest finish on good ground. I think she draws well here, a couple away from the fence. Froggy Newitt can just sit off pace and find the best going in the straight. And I think at the $4.20 with Palmerbet, she will be going very close.
Yeah, I think the important thing for Victoria Star, as you've alluded to, is the wet ground. 4 from 4 on soft, 1 from 1 on heavy. So undefeated on wet tracks, undefeated third up from a spell, goes well at this distance, drawn well barrier 6, Froggy Newitt, Greg Urell. Looks a winning combination to me, and currently priced at around $4.20 at Palmerbet. That's race number 9, horse number 13, Victoria Star, Trent's best bet of the day at Caulfield. We'll move on to your best value bet of the day. It comes up in race number 5. You're with horse number 9, Heavenly Light, at $21. And what I like about this in particular is this horse comes off a 13-length defeat at Moonee Valley last start.
Yeah, it was beaten out of sight. You couldn't even see it in the screen. It raced 3 and 4 wide, just off the speed there, and was given no hope. It dropped out pretty early. I'm just kind of specking it here at the long odds because I liked its Tasmanian form. It's second up here on the mainland. Its Tasmanian form around horses like Galenis and the Roach is pretty good for this kind of race. I think they're pretty handy gallopers in Tasmania, and it's been franked a little bit over here as well. Her best races over there have been when she's leading, and she wasn't able to do that last start. I'd expect Georgina Cartwright taking the claim here will go straight to the front from the good barrier and just try and get her rolling, and I think she could be a lot tougher to run down than her odds suggest at the each way price.
That's race number 5, horse number 9, Heavenly Light, currently $21 with Palmerbet, Trent's best value of the day over at Caulfield. We'll move over to Sydney now and get to Rosehill Gardens. And my best bet of the day comes up in race number 5. And this is a horse I think you basically have to back first up and first up only. It's horse number 4, Roe Herring, for the Godolphin team, currently $4.80 with Palmerbet. As I've said, I think this horse is a first up horse. He does his best racing fresh. He's had 3 starts first up from a spell, and he's won all 3 of those. He comes into this with just one little trial at Hawkesbury over 800 metres, but I wouldn't be too perturbed by that. He's raced well in the past with just one trial leading up into a first up run. J-Mac booked straight away, first up from a spell, draws well in barrier 5. He's won on heavy ground before, so the track should pose no problems. His only start at this track and distance was a second placing, but as I said, I think he's best suited doing his best racing first up from a spell. So we'll try and catch him early in his preparation, look to get the cash, and then probably jump off second up next time out. But that's race number 5, horse number 4, Roe I do think you should have a saver on horse number 3, Embracer, for the Waterhouse Bot team with Tim Clark in the saddle. Really consistent 4-year-old, this bloke. He goes well first up from a spell. I think last preparation he had 5 starts and finished in the top 2 in 4 of those, which included 3 wins. His only start at this track and distance was a win, and that was on heavy ground as well. So I think the play should be back Roe Heron at $4.80 with Palmerbet, and have a little saver on number 3, Embracer. That's race number 5 at Rosehill. We'll move on to my best value bet of the day. Comes up in race number 8, and it's horse number 6, Know It All Jack. He's currently a $15 chance with Palmerbet. Now, there's one other horse I'm keen on in this race. It's number 2, Knight of Power, which is James McDonald's ride. I do think the current favourite, word for word, if they do gain a run in one of the earlier races on the card, I think they'll go that way and scratch her from this race, which probably is why J-Max booked to ride Knight of Power. He did ride this horse first up from a spell, and he sticks with it second up today. But I can't quite understand the price differential between Knight of Power and Know It All Jack. They raced in the same race first up over 1,300 metres here at Rosehill. Know It All Jack was beaten 2 lengths. Knight of Power was beaten as favourite by 2.3 lengths. So they basically finished alongside each other, and they meet at level weights again today. The key with these 2 horses is they both take significant improvements second up from a spell. Knight of Power's had 3 starts second up for 2 wins and a second placing. And Know It All Jack's had 3 starts for 2 wins. If you go back to last preparation, Know It All Jack, he won his second up race by 4.5 lengths at Canterbury, where he led all the way. I think they'll look to do similar here. Jean Van Overmeer takes the ride again. I think they'll jump straight to the front just as they did first up. And I'm expecting with that improvement him to be very, very hard to beat on the wet Rosehill track. So I can't really understand why he's a $15 chance and Knight of Power is a $4.20 chance. But I'm pretty happy with the odds there for Know It All Jack, and I've made him my best value bet of the day. And as I've said, I'll also be playing Knight of Power in that race. Pretty keen on the 2 of those. Trent, any thoughts on either of those 2 races at Rosehill?
Yeah, race 5 with your best bet, Roe Heron. I'm quite keen on him as well. I definitely agree. First up is the place to back him, and he just slowly drops off throughout the campaign. Handles wet ground well. James McDonald booked, looks a good chance. The horse I could potentially spec at big odds is number 9, You Make Me Smile, who gets down in the weights. Probably a better horse second up, is 3 from 4 second up, so maybe going off 1 too early, but does love the heavy ground. Tommy Berry's absolutely flying. Could give a sight out in front with a low weight, but I think Roe Heron's definitely the horse to beat there for sure.
Well, good. That makes a change, given last week that I was with Southern Lad and you were heavily against me with Southern Lad, and you proved to be the smarter on that occasion, because he will never, ever, ever get my money again, that horse. But hopefully we have a bit more luck this week. You can head to beforeyouBet.com.au. You'll find myself and Trent's full previews for Caulfield and Rosehill on there. BeforeyouBet.com.au, head to the horse racing section. If you're having a bet this Saturday, please do so responsibly. Trent, all the best this weekend. Look forward to catching up with you next week.
Thanks. Good luck, Tim.